Have you ever wondered how one company came to dominate the world of personal computing? How the operating system on billions of computers came to be? Well, the story starts on a seemingly ordinary day, January 8th, 1975, a day that would forever change the landscape of technology. This is the day that a brand new programming language, Altair Basic, first ran successfully on the Altair 8800, the world's first microcomputer. And the masterminds behind this language? Two young, ambitious Harvard dropouts named Bill Gates and Paul Allen. This single event was the spark that ignited the creation of a company we all know today, Microsoft. Let's rewind a bit. In December 1974, Paul Allen was walking through Harvard Square when he saw the cover of Popular Electronics magazine. It featured the Altair 8800, a build-it-yourself computer kit from a company called Meets in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Allen grabbed the magazine and rushed to show his friend, Bill Gates. They both knew this was it, the moment the personal computer revolution was beginning. They realized that these new, affordable machines would need software to be useful, and if they didn't act fast, someone else would beat them to it. The challenge was immense. They didn't even have an Altair 8800 computer to work with. So what did they do? They decided to write a basic interpreter for a machine they had never touched. Paul Allen started working on an emulator for the Intel 8080 processor, the chip that powered the Altair using Harvard's PDP-10 mainframe computer. Meanwhile, Bill Gates focused on writing the basic language itself. They worked feverishly, often pulling all-nighters, fueled by passion and the belief that they were onto something huge. Their code had to be incredibly efficient. The early Altair models had just 4 kilobytes of memory. To put that in perspective, a single low-resolution photo on your phone today takes up more space than that entire computer's memory. Gates and Allen had to squeeze their entire language, the interpreter, and have enough room left for the user's program and data, all within that tiny space. It was a masterpiece of programming efficiency. With the deadline looming, they called Ed Roberts, the head of Metza, and boldly claimed they had a working basic interpreter for his machine. This was a bit of a gamble, as they hadn't actually tested it on a real Altair yet. Roberts, intrigued, agreed to meet them. Paul Allen was chosen to fly to Albuquerque for the demonstration. The night before his flight, they were still frantically trying to save the code onto a paper tape, the storage medium of the day. They realized they hadn't even written the loader program, the small piece of code that would tell the Altair how to read the basic interpreter from the paper tape. Gates stayed up all night to write it by hand, and Allen boarded the plane with the untested code, not knowing if it would work at all. This is where January 8th, 1975 becomes so critical. On that day, in the mate's offices in Albuquerque, Paul Allen loaded the paper tape into the Altair 8800. He typed in the loader program, held his breath, and fed the tape containing their basic interpreter. The machine chugged away for several minutes, and then it worked. A screen displayed a prompt. To prove it was truly their basic language, Allen typed print 2 plus 2 and hit enter. The machine responded with 4. The room erupted in cheers. It was a success. Their gamble had paid off spectacularly. This success led directly to the formal founding of Microsoft. Gates and Allen licensed their Altair Basic to Metz, and this became their first product. They initially called their partnership Microsoft, a combination of microcomputer and software. They officially registered the name later that year. Their vision was clear: a computer on every desk and in every home, running Microsoft software. It sounded audacious, almost fantastical at the time, but they were determined to make it a reality. The deal with Meets was just the beginning. Microsoft went on to license their basic interpreter to other early computer manufacturers, including Apple and Commodore. This strategy of licensing software, rather than selling hardware, was revolutionary. It established software as a standalone, valuable product, a concept that wasn't widely accepted back then. This business model became the cornerstone of Microsoft's future success. Of course, the journey wasn't without its challenges. In the early days, software piracy was rampant. Hobbyists would freely copy and distribute Microsoft's Altair Basic without paying for it. This prompted an angry Bill Gates to write his famous open letter to hobbyists in 1976, arguing that developers deserve to be paid for their work, a debate that continues in various forms even today. The company's real breakthrough, however, came in 1980 when they struck a deal with IBM. IBM was secretly developing its own personal computer, the IBM PC, and needed an operating system. In a legendary business move, Microsoft acquired an operating system called 86-DOS from another company, adapted it for the IBM PC, and renamed it MS-DOS. Crucially, Microsoft retained the rights to license MS-DOS to other computer manufacturers. When other companies started making IBM-compatible clones, they all needed an operating system, and Microsoft was there to provide it. This masterstroke is what put MS-DOS and, by extension, Microsoft on the map. It created a standard for the entire PC industry and set the stage for Microsoft's decades of dominance. From MS-DOS came Windows, a graphical user interface that made computers more accessible to the average person. Windows 3.1, Windows 95, Windows XP, each version marked a significant step in the evolution of personal computing, further cementing Microsoft's place in homes and offices worldwide. The company expanded into office productivity with Microsoft Office, gaming with the Xbox, and later into cloud computing with Azure. All of this entire technological empire that has shaped the modern world, can be traced back to that one pivotal moment on January 8th, 1975. It was the day two young visionaries proved their software worked, turning a bold idea into a tangible product. It was the day that software truly began to eat the world. It wasn't just about a successful demo. It was the birth of a business model, a company, and a vision that would define an era of technology. It reminds us that sometimes the biggest revolutions start with the smallest lines of code, a risky phone call, and the courage to build something for a future that only you can see. This is TimeShift Tech, where we explore what happened in technology on this day. Because every date matters, and every date marks a moment in technology history. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join us on our next exploration. See you next time.